going to explaining the unit 1 in Java programming, that is a Java fundamental. Java is one of our essential programming language, and it is having its own importance, so everyone has to concentrate this essential paper. It is very much essential to Mangalore University, and most of you are using smartphones. Smartphones are using an operating system called an Android. That entire Android operating system is written in Java. Almost all of you, all the students, you are familiar with this. Nowadays, most of the programming languages has came into existence. Though Java has its own importance, it has never reduced its popularity. So that is why you have to focus more on this Java programming language. And let us see the fundamentals of Java in first chapter. Let's see the origins of Java. Java is suggesting as a general purpose object oriented programming language. Here we know what is a object oriented programming language, and this Java is developed by Sun Microsystem of USA in 1991. It is also called as a truly object oriented programming language. So what do you mean by truly object oriented programming language? Truly object oriented programming language means even if you want to write a simple program to display your name, you have to use the concept of a class. But this is not possible in the case of C++. Without using the concept of a class, also we can print our programs, so we can develop our programs. So that is the drawback of some of drawbacks of a low level programming language, and where it is clear all the doubts of that low level programming language. So that is why it is called as a truly object oriented programming language. It has developed by Sun Microsystem of America in 1991. The main intention of using this programming language is to develop a consumer electronic devices, to develop a software for consumer electronic devices. So then what do you mean by consumer electronic device? At home we are having so many of our home appliances, as well as we are using daily needs. Nowadays we are using TVs, VCRs and other electronic devices, where it has to function properly. To function it properly, we have to code that machine. So to code that machine, we are going to be using this software, this programming language to build that software. Hence, this goal had a strong impact on the development of a language. Based on this development of a software for a consumer electronic device is a goal. It is having a strong impact on the development of the language, makes to understand simple, portable and highly reliable. We will see the growth of Java in the given table. Now let us see, in the year 1990, Sun Microsystem decided to develop a special software that could be used to manipulate consumer electronic device. So that Sun Microsystem has developed a special software for that needs. A team of Sun Microsystem programmers headed by James Gosling was formed to undertake this task. This development of software has taken place by the team in Sun Microsystem. The programmers were handled by the James Gosling. So he has lead the team and he has succeeded. So that is why this Java programming language is developed by James Gosling. In the year 1991, after exploring the possibility of using most popular object-oriented programming language C++, the team announced a new language named O. So by using the concept of C++ only, they have developed their products, they have developed their softwares. So they announced their new programming language as Oak. In 1992, the team known as the Green Project team by Sun demonstrated the application of their new language to a control list of home appliances. So already we have told that a team was led by this new programming language. That a team is named by Green Project by the Sun, and they try to demonstrate the application of their new languages. They are explaining, they explained the how that programming language has work on the home appliances. 1993, the World Wide Web appeared on the internet and transformed the text-based internet into a graphical rich environment. So in the year of 1993, www, what we are learning as an internet, World Wide Web, as a transfer. Till to 1993, we are using only text-based internet. By the development of this Java only, it helps for the graphical rich environment. So your browsers, your internet supports graphical environment. It supports multimedia. It supports image transmission. It supports video transmission. It supports audio transmission, and everything is possible by the usage of this new programming language. So the Green Project team came with the idea for developing web applets. Here this applet is a very important concept, and we will see what is an applet. An applet is a tiny program. Actually it is a tiny program. Okay, by using that tiny program we are running our program from a remote system. So these web applets using the new language that could run all types of computers connected to the internet. So by using these web applets, applications, applet is nothing but an applications. By using these applications we are running our program from any computer through connected to the internet. If you would have connected in the internet, you can run your program from anywhere by using the web applets. So that is the main thing. In the year 1993, www has become a very popular because of Java. It supports graphical rich environment. The team developed a web browser called HotJava to locate and run applet programs on the internet. So we came to know that 1993 we are using some of our browsers to run our in www to open your websites, right? So to run your applet programs on internet, Sun Microsystem has developed one of a web browser is called HotJava. In the year 1995, Oak was renamed as Java. So already we came to know that new programming language as named as Oak, but due to some legal problems, already at that time Oak was used by some other company due to the patent rights. The Oak was renamed as Java. So Java is a name, but it is not an acronym. In the year 1996, Java established as the leader of internet programming. In the from the year of from year 1996 onwards, Java is very popular because of it supports consumer electronic devices as well as also supports graphical user environment in www. So internet, that is why it become a very popular. Now let us see what is the difference between C++ and Java. So already I suggested that Java is a true object oriented language, like C++ is basically C with object oriented extensions. So we know C++ is basically it is similar to your C with additional extensions. So that is what exactly the increment operator ++ indicates. So we are using C++, C with extension. ++ indicates C with extension, means it supports C and some additional features. C++ has maintained backward compatibility with C. So C++ has maintained backward compatibility with C since it supports C programming also as well as C++, means it supports, it can run by using C++, we can run your C program. So therefore possible to write an old style of C program and run it successfully under C++. Yes, that's it. Java appears to be similar to C++ when we consider only the extension part of C++. Yes, so whenever we are seeing this Java program, Java is also similar to your C++ only when we consider the part of C++, but it possesses a number of advantages over than C++. Let us see what are those. Some of a difference. Java does not support operator overloading. Java does not have template classes as in C++. Java does not support multiple inheritance of classes. This is accomplished using a new feature called interfaces. So already we know what do you mean by overloading. Here it is our operator overloading, but we are familiar with function overloading. As you have learned about the operator overloading in your C++, but here in Java it doesn't support, and Java doesn't have template classes as you have learned in C++, but you have not learned in C++, I think so. So next point is Java does not support multiple inheritance of classes. In your C++ it is having multiple inheritance. As you know what is a multiple inheritance, right? What is a multiple inheritance? Deriving a new class from more than one base class is called as a multiple inheritance, right? Deriving a new class from more than one base class is called as multiple inheritance. This concept is doesn't directly supported by the Java, but we can do that multiple inheritance by using the feature called interface. So this is a very important concept. Interface is one of a very important concept, so we have to learn this concept. Java does not support global variables. We know what is a global variable, local variable, and every variable and method is declared within a class and forms part of that class. So we are defining the variables and methods. Here methods are nothing but your functions. Now onwards you won't identify the term function. In the place of a function we are identifying the term method. Method it is declared within a class and forms part of the class. So what does a class consist of? Class consists of data members and member functions. Now onwards a class consists of data and methods. So data is treated as a data members and method is treated as data functions. Java does not use pointers. So Java doesn't have pointer concept. Java has replaced the destructor function with finalize function. As you know what is a destructor. If you know the constructor, you know the destructor, right? Constructor constructs, destructor destroys. So whatever the variable, whatever the value has created in a memory, if we want to clear that, we have to use the concept of a destructor function in your C++. But that directly we can't directly implement here. We can implement that concept by using the function called finalize function. There are no header files in Java. Here we do not have header files, but sometimes we are treating it as a header file, but it is not as a header files. We are going to learning about this concept. Java also had some new features. While C++ is a superset of C, Java is neither a superset nor a subset of C or C++. Java also have some features. While C++ is a superset of C, as we know, it supports C and additional features. Java is neither say a superset nor a subset of C or C++. But Java is not a superset of C++ or C. Java may be considered as a first cousin of C++ and second cousin of C. So here in the technical term, it is defining as Java is the first cousin of C++ and second cousin of C. Now let us see difference between C and Java. Till now we have seen difference between C++ and Java. Now we are seeing the difference between C and Java. Java does not include the C Unix statement keywords goto, sizeof and typedef. So in Java we do not have the keywords like goto, sizeof and typedef. Java does not contain the data type struct, union and enum. Also it doesn't have the data types like struct, union and enum. Java does not define the type modifier keywords auto, extern, register, signed and unsigned. So here we are not going to be using all these keywords. Java does not support an explicit pointer type. So here Java doesn't support the pointer type, but in your C it supports. All these features are supported in your C. Java does not have a preprocessor and therefore we cannot use hash define, hash include and hash if def statements. So Java does not support a preprocessor. Already we are familiar with the preprocessor in your C as well as the C++. Whenever you are writing the statements, you are using hash include stdio.h, hash include iostream.h, hash define, hash include, right? All these are the preprocessors. Indirectly Java doesn't support these preprocessors. Java requires that the function with no argument must be declared with empty parenthesis and not with the void keyword as done in C. So whatever the functions with no arguments, if you want to declare any function in your C++, we are using the return type as void followed by the name of the function followed by the bracket, or else after the bracket also we are placing some times it as a void, but here it is not required. Java adds new operators such as instance of and triple greater than, bitwise right shift. Okay, so it is not a bitwise right shift. We will see these three right shift symbol. Okay, this instance of and right shift 3 right shift symbol is a very important question for 2 marks. Please go through it. Instance of and 3 right shift operator. Java adds a labeled break and continue statements. Here we are having labeled break and labeled continue statements. Okay, Java adds many features required for object oriented programming. It also having additional features regardless of your C and C++. Now let us see why Java is important to the internet. As we know, in the history of our Java, origin of Java is nothing but an history of Java. We know why it become a popular, right? Now we are seeing the why Java is important to the. Now we are seeing why Java is important to the internet. The reason is quite simple. Java expands the universe of objects that can move about freely in cyberspace. So it expands the universe of object. Already we are familiar with what is an object. An object is a runtime entity, right? So by using this runtime entity, we can solve the real world problems, right? So everything here, it is an object. By using this object, we are transmitting our data in a cyberspace, in a internet, as without threatening, because no virus can be cracked that object. In a network, two very broad categories of objects are transmitted between the server and your personal computer: passive information and dynamic active programs. So if you are using a internet, so you are requesting and responding, right? Two kinds of data transmission will be possible from server and to your personal computer. What are those? As a passive information and dynamic active programs. So passive pro information and dynamic active programs is just like as an online but not active. Active program means online as well as active programs. For example, when you read your email, you are viewing passive data. So if you are reading your email means you are viewing passive data. Even when you download a program, the program's code is still only passive data. Suppose you got a mail as an attachment as a photo. So until unless it downloads, it is in a state of a passive only. Once it is downloaded, you are opening that photo, right? So that is until that opening of that photo means you are executing that. Whenever you are executing your passive data, it becomes an active data, active programs. However, a second type of object can be transmitted to your computer, a dynamic self-executing program. And second one is sometimes it is treated as a dynamic and self-executing programs, right? So it is just like as an setting of an alarm. Whenever you set the alarm at that time, automatically alarm plays, right? Whenever we will post all our result on the date of announcement, it will automatically display, right? So such is a, now you are taking the quizzes, right? Whenever you are taking the quizzes, if you fill your form, immediately if it response means based on your submission, you are getting your certificate. It is also one of our dynamic programs. So likewise, you can transmit a second type of object in your computer by using Java. Such a program is a active agent on the client computer, yet it is initialized by the server. So you are having an active client, active agent in your system, but it will be executed by the server. Then after the completion of your submission, immediately it will response means it is by the server. For example, a program might be provided by the server to display properly the data that the server is sending. So whatever the program you are requesting, that requesting data is sent by the server itself only. It is giving as an example. As a desirable as a dynamic networked programs are, they also present serious problems in the areas of security and portability. Even Java is very much essential in internet. Whenever you are transmitting your data or program or whatever the valuable information through the internet, so there must have some serious problems related to the security and portability. Java addresses those concerns as a open new form of a program, the applet. So for the serious problems of security and portability, it suggests a new kind of a program is an applet. So we have to suppose to use an applet program whenever we are using such valid informations. Now let us see Java applets and applications. So this is a 2 marks, a very important question. Java applets and applications. In Java we can develop two types of programs. By using Java we can create two types of programs. One is application. Standalone application means whatever the code you are writing, it is run through a console based applications only. So these kinds of programs are called standalone application and applets. And applets are small tiny programs. By using this we can create an user friendly programs, just like as a simple calculator, and likewise your gaming programs we can develop, or else you can define your own window user interfaces. Such kind of programs can be developed by using applets. An application program is a program that runs on your computer under the operating system of the computer. Here we are suggesting as a standalone application program that runs on your computer only by using your own operating systems. So it is running your own computer by using your own operating systems. Okay, when used to create applications, Java is not much different from any other computer language. Whenever you want to create any applications, so if you want to create an application means if you have to write a program, so you are already familiar with C and C++, how to write programs in your C and C++. So it is similar to your C and C++, much similar to your C and C++, and with some little differences. So we can easily accessible these applications. And the second kind of program is applets. An applet is an application designed to be transmitted over the internet and executed by a Java compatible web browser. So here it is Java is an application designed to be transmitted over the internet. These are the small tiny program which is transmitted over the internet and executed by Java compatible web browsers. Whatever the browsers supported by the Java, that Java browsers are executed these tiny applets through the internet. But it doesn't require an internet connection. You can locally run your applet program. An applet is actually a tiny Java program dynamically downloaded across the network, just like as an image, sound file or video clip. So here it is suggesting as a tiny Java program we can download it across the network, just like an images, sound files or video clips. The important difference is that an applet is an intelligent program, not just an animation or media file. So if you observe, the important difference is that applet is an intelligent program. It is an intelligent program, not just as an animation or media files. In other words, an applet is a program that can react to user input and dynamically changes, not just run the same animation or sound over and over. So applet can react to user input. So in your VB.NET, you have learned how you are inputting, based on that input it is responding, right? This kind of an applications we have seen. Based on the same thing here, your applet program is also executable. And as existing as applets, or if Java were not able to address the two fundamental problems associated with them, security and portability. So if you are using the applets, as we know the two problems, one is the security and portability. We can overcome that security and portability by using these Java applets programs. Now let us see the security. Once it has been asked for the 4 marks in your Java, why Java is important. So you have to write a security as well as a portability. These are the two important factors we have to check it over. Please go through your previous question papers. Previous question papers are very important. Every time that you download a normal program, you are risking a viral infection. Whenever you are downloading any kind of a program from an internet, we are having a problem of a viral infection of your either system or your file. Prior to Java, most users did not download executable program frequently, and those who did scanned them for viruses prior to execution. Even though if you are downloading your files, if you are having a strong security, based on that security mechanism, it will be scanned and downloads. After downloading, you are going to be installing your app or applications. So that is happening in current days. In addition to viruses, another type of a malicious program exists that must be guarded against. Besides these viruses, we are also having some malicious programs. If these malicious programs are exist, then your data has been hacked, as well as your system has been also hacked. So your system and data may be controlled by some others. So we have to take over very serious note on these security issues. These type of a program can gather private information such as credit card number, bank account balance, and passwords by searching the content of your computer's local file systems. So those are the malicious programs. So whenever you are using, you must use a secured programs. So secured antivirus programs we have to be placed in our systems. So Java supports in Java it is inbuilt, that is why no malicious program or no viruses program can attacks. Okay, Java answer both of these concerns by providing a firewall between a networked application and your computer. So as we suggested, Java is consist of inbuilt. It answers for both by providing firewalls. Firewall is a program, it will be placed between network application and your computer as well as a network application. We are placing the firewall, a strong security guards. It won't allow your viruses as well as malicious programs. When you use a Java compatible web browser, you can safely download Java applets without fear of a viral infection or malicious intent. So if you are using the Java web browsers, then there is no need of worrying any kind of viral or malicious intent, because you are using your Java browsers. Suppose most of the applications from your banks as well as post any government sectors, those application programs are defined in Java itself only. So because it provides the safeguards, okay, in your banking systems or in your LICs or in your postal systems, all these are applications. Whatever the applications they are using, it has been defined in Java its environment itself only. So Java achieves this protection by confining a Java program to the Java execution environment and not allowing access to other parts of the computer. So by using this Java, you can achieve this protection. Now our next concept is portability. As we know, what do you mean by portable? Transferring of a file from one operating system to another operating system without modifying the source code, right? So many computers and operating systems are using throughout the world. They are connected through the internet. Whatever the computers and operating systems we are using in the world, they are connected through the internet. For programs to be dynamically downloaded to all the various types of platforms connected to the internet, some means of generating portable executable code is needed. If I want to transfer my dynamical information, I am transferring it in the form of a program code, executable code. That executable code without modifying the source code, whatever the program you are typing, that typed program is called as source. Without modifying that source, you have to download it from any operating system. So for that we are using various kinds of an operating system in a as their requirement. The same mechanism that helps ensure security also helps create portability. So these executable codes are not supposed to be cracked. For example, whenever I am transferring one file to another file, we have to provide the security reasons. Security also, when we transferring our executable codes, it doesn't affect any viruses, right? So Java provides this facility. Indeed, Java solution to these two problems is both elegant and efficient. So security and portability issues are well handled by Java programming language. Now our next concept is bytecode. This is also very important question for 2 and 4 marks of questions. Every year question paper it is asking. So let us see what is the bytecode. The Java programming language is both compiled and interpreted. So whatever the programming language you have till learned, either it is a compiled or either it is an interpreted. For example, your C++ program you are compiling, and in your microprocessor program you are interpreting. So you know the major difference. After writing a program, you have to first compile it. After writing the program, we have to compile it, right, to check the errors. After compilation, the program is converted into a format called bytecode. In your Java program, after writing your Java program, if you compile that compiled Java program is converted into a format called bytecodes. These bytecodes can be executed on any computers. So the compiled code of a source code is bytecode. These bytecode can be executed on any computers. So bytecodes are said to be platform independent. So these bytecodes are platform independent. As we know, what is a platform independent? Platform independent means it will be run in any operating system. The bytecodes are then interpreted by the Java interpreter. After the compilation of your source code, it has formed a code called bytecode. These bytecodes should be interpreted by the Java interpreter. Now we have to run these bytecodes by using Java interpreters. The Java interpreter is also called as Java Virtual Machine or Java Runtime Engine. And JVM, Java Virtual Machine, converts the bytecode into machine code that can be understood by the specific computer on which it is run. So this JVM converts bytecode into machine code and understood by the specific computer. Whatever the computer you are running that bytecode, that operating system can understand what the data exists in that bytecode. Okay. A Java program can thus run on any kind of a computer that has a JVM. So if you want to execute any Java program, if you have a JVM, Java Virtual Machine, you can run any kind of a Java program. The phrase write once, run anywhere is commonly used to describe the nature of a Java program. So you can write once and run anytime. If you write the program once, you can run anytime is a phrase commonly used for Java program. Here a diagram is showing. So I have written a source code. Source code means a normal program. For example, if I am writing the addition of two number, or simple I want to display my address, whatever the program I have written, that is a Java program. After writing that Java program, I have to compile it by using the Java compilers. After the compilation, the compiled code of your program will be turned into a format called virtual machine code, that is a bytecode. After this bytecode, I have to run my program. So I am running this bytecode by using Java Virtual Machine with the help of a Java interpreter. After running this Java bytecode program, machine can successfully understand what is the data present in your program, Java program. So this is the concept of bytecode. Now this is also one of a essential feature. It is a ask for 820 marks. So that is why you have to suppose to concentrate this question very much. Java buzzwords or Java features. So sometimes it will ask in the question paper as explain any 6 buzzwords or explain any 6 features of Java. So if you observe, these consist of several features of Java. It is a simple, secure, portable, object-oriented, robust, multi-threaded, architectural neutral, interpreted, high-performance, distributed, dynamic. Let us see what is the simple. The aim of developing Java was to make it easy to learn and use. Any programming language, if any programming language is developed, it is easy to understand and easy to use, right? So likewise, Java is also easy to use and easy to understand. Java does not have any of the difficult features of C++. As we know, it doesn't consist of any difficult features of C++. The syntax of Java is similar to that of C++. Its syntax is similar of C++. This made it easier for programming to learn and understand. And second one is secure. You can write Java application that cannot be attacked by any harmful code. Whatever the code you have, whatever the applications you have written, it is not affected by any harmful code. In the case of computer networks, Java applications are safe from any harmful code that tries to create viruses and attack the file system. So in whatever the program you have developed in Java, it is very secure because of bytecode. In that bytecode, no virus program is identify the data location. That is why it is very essential, very secured code. It is written, it is executing in Java compilers. Okay. And the third point is portable. People with different machines and operating system can use the same Java code without making any changes. Suppose I am using Windows operating system, you are using Linux operating system. I am writing the Java code and you are also using the same code. I can make the usage of your code as well as I can make the usage, you can make the usage of my code without modifying it. You can run your programs in any operating system. So that is also possible because of this portable. For example, you can take some Java programs that you executed on a Windows system and executed on a non-Windows system such as Solaris or Linux without making any changes to the program. So whatever the program you have written in any operating system can be tried in another operating system without modifying the program. So this is possible because of portable. And next one is object oriented. Java is a true object oriented language. As we suggested in the first, it is a truly object oriented programming language. Even if you want to develop a simple program, you have to write the concept of class. Almost everything in Java is an object. So whatever the code you have written, that code is also treated as an object. All program code and data resides within objects and classes. So whatever the code you have written, it will be stored in the objects and classes. It will be stored in the form of objects and in the classes. Java comes with an extensive set of classes arranged in packages. Now this is also one of a very important concept, packages. So packages means a collection of classes, objects, methods and interfaces. What is a package? Group of package. Package means a collection of classes, objects, methods as well as interfaces that we can use in our programs by inheritance. So it also supports a set of classes arranged in packages. It consists of a set of classes which are arranged in a package. Packages are nothing but folders. By using the making the usage of folders, we can reuse our program with the help of concept called inheritance. Next one is a robust. As you know, what is a robust? Robust language. Java is robust language. It provides many safeguards to ensure reliable code, and also it provides safeguards to your reliable code. It has a strict compile time and runtime checking for the data types. So as we know, till now Java is any other programming language is either compiled or interpreted, but Java is compiled as well as interpreted. So a strict checking of data types and your code is checking for thoroughly. It is designed as a garbage collected language, relieving the programmer's virtual all memory management problem. So due to this robust language, it is also collected the garbage. So garbage means in your program unwanted spaces are automatically deleted. So it is also possible by using this Java, and also your virtual memory management problems will be solved. So they don't create any virtual memory management problems. Java also incorporates the concept of exception handling, which captures serious errors and eliminates any risk of crashing the systems. As we know, what is an exception handling? By using this exception handling, we can rectify the errors, and also by using this exception also we can protect our system from crashing. Okay, so these kinds of exceptions are available, already you have learned in your VB.NETs. And next one is a multi-threaded. As we know, what is a multi-thread? Multi-thread is a multitask. Executing multiple tasks simultaneously is multi-threaded. Java supports this feature. This means we need not to wait for an application to finish one task before beginning another. So as we know, we need not to be wait for one task to be completed to another task has to be wait. For example, we can listen to audio clips while scrolling a page, and at the same time download an applet from a distant computer. So we can listen, we can edit and we can modify at the same time. It is possible. It is also supported by your Java programming language. This feature greatly improves the interactive performance of graphical applications. So these kinds of applications will support in graphical applications. Next one is architectural neutral. Java program can be easily moved from one computer system to another computer anywhere and anytime. So as we know, what is a portable? It is a just like as an architectural neutral. Changes and upgrade in operating system, processor and system resource will not force any changes in the Java program. Suppose I am using the lower version operating system. If I upgraded it with the higher version, your program will not affect by using that higher version operating system. Or even if you are using the another lower end system also, your Java program doesn't affects. So you need not to be worried about the modifying of your any Java program. Because of this, Java has become a popular language for programming on internet, which interconnect with different kind of systems worldwide. So that is why It supports internet, very popular, and it also supports a portable nature. That is why it supports lower end systems as well as upper end systems without modifying your code. So that hence it is placed as an architectural neutral. Next one is interpreted. Usually a computer programming language is either compiled or interpreted, as we suggested that uh, any of a programming language either compiled or interpreted. As you know, C and C++ are compiled, your microprocessor is interpreted, right? Java combines both of these approaches, thus making Java a two-stage system. So it uses the concept of compiled as well as interpreted, means a strict checking of your code is possible. Hence it identifies two types of your program. First, Java compiler translates source code into bytecode instructions. As we know, what is a bytecode, right? Whatever the source code were compiled, it will be converted into a form called bytecode instruction. Bytecodes are not machine instructions. These bytecodes are not a machine instructions. If you want to execute these bytecodes, you must need an JVM, right? In second stage, Java interpreter. So if I want to run this bytecode Java interpreter, we have to compile that bytecode with Java interpreter by using the JVM. Java interpreter generates machine code. So that bytecode has to be interpreted with JVM, and it will be converted into machine code. That can be directly executed by the machine that is running the Java programs. Thus, Java is both compiled and an interpreted language. High performance. Java is slower than C++. If you observe your Java is slower than C++. Yes, why? Because it is compiled and interpreted. Certain application requires high speeds. Definitely, some of these high-level languages requires high-speed compilations. In such cases, to increase the speed of your execution, you can use JIT compilers. JIT stands for just-in-time compilers. That will improve the performance of Java program. So by the usage of JIT compilers, whatever the compiler as well as the interpreter you are using for your Java, without affecting the speed, your program will be executed fast. Memory management in Java is done automatically by means of features such as automatic garbage collections. So in Java it consists of automatic garbage collections. Hence, there is a we don't have any problem related to a memory management schemes. Objects that no longer used or deleted and memory used by them is freed by automatic garbage collectors. Whatever the object we have created, if it is not used for a longer time, automatically this garbage collector will collect the memory used by that objects, and the space used by that object will be cleared. This is also one of the reason for its high performance. And next feature is distributed. Java is distributed as a distributed language for creating application on network. Distributed means we have to transfer, right? You can transfer over the internet, right? Such kind of an application is also possible. So Java is designed as distributed language for creating applications on network. So through the network we are accessing. Now we are seeing the central banking system. Server is maintaining somewhere and application is maintaining somewhere and used by the somewhere, right? All these are possible by using your distributed system. It has the ability to share both data and programs. By using this distributed feature, it shares both your data and programs. It loads your program is your application, and whatever the data you are storing in that application also shareable, right? Java applications can open and access remote objects on internet as easily as they can do in local systems. So how the local system is doing, in the same sense it is also possible in distributed systems also. This enables multiple programmers at multiple remote stations to work together on a single project. So based on this, anybody can develop any kind of a project from any sitting at anywhere, right? So a group of a team will work on the same project, and they can access the data and program from remote locations is also possible by using this distributed nature. Next one is dynamic. Java is a dynamic language. Java is capable of dynamically linking in new class libraries, methods, and objects. So it is also a dynamic language, at a time executable language. Uh, it is dynamically linking some of new classes. So automatically it links new classes, libraries, methods, and objects. Java can also determine the types of class through a query. So the best example of this dynamic nature is to generate your result. Whenever the result is announcing, whenever you are entering your register number, at the time it immediately display your result, right? So these are the some of a technique behind that is dynamicism, dynamic nature, dynamic languages. Those features also supported by your Java through a query. As you know, what is a query? Java program supports a function written in other languages such as C and C++. As we know, it is the first and second cousin of C and C++. It supports your C and C++ functions. These functions are known as native methods. Whatever the C and C++ function is executed in your Java, those function is treated as native methods. This facility enables the programmer to use the efficient functions to available in these languages. So by the usage of these native methods, we can effectively use those functions in these kinds of languages. Native methods are linked dynamically at runtime. Whatever the functions we have developed in your C and C++ can be executed dynamically at runtime. So as you know, what is a runtime, right? If you don't know, even you will learn in now